Hey there, Clash fans, and welcome to episode 12 of another Clash of Clans podcast. In this episode, we've got plenty to go through. We'll be taking an in-depth look at the hero journey bugs and what's been going on there, as well as breaking down the Shock versus Einstonius match, and then, after catching up with an old friend of the podcast, Ghosty makes his return. But this time, I've thrown the ball firmly into his court with a quiz of my own. He fired straight back with a shorter World Championship quiz, just to try and catch me off guard, before taking his place in Clash Court to prosecute one particularly obscure defendant. But before we get into all of that, we've got something else to talk about. Supercell's decision to remove the 7th tier from clan games. So with that said, let's get into it. So, for the first Clashiversary in 8 years, we got our notice from Clash Ninja on the month's Clan Games rewards tiers, and we'll be minus the traditional 7th bonus tier in celebration of the Clashiversary. The rewards notice was posted on social media, and as per usual, the saltiest place on earth did not appreciate it at all. So, Supercell posted this up on X. Hey Chiefs, we've seen some of you have been wondering why there isn't a 7th Clan Games reward tier for Clashiversary. In the past, the 7th tier has been intended as an anniversary bonus rather than a permanent part of Clan Games. This year, we decided to spread Clashiversary rewards across multiple events throughout the celebration, with the rewards overall being even bigger than what we couldn't have added as a 7th Clan Games tier. We hope this clears things up and that you're enjoying the celebration so far. Now, considering how much we've received in freebies so far, that's if you were prepared to participate in the appropriate events on the specific platform it was held on, then absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, with 2 free skins, multiple resource runes, ores, potions, magic snacks, cards, and a whole lot more, well, I'll tell you what, that's definitely a fair amount. But you'll always have that one guy who only completes the remove obstacles task in clan games and lets the rest of the clan do the rest of the work. And he's decided now to hop online for a rant, so what can we do? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm on Supercell's side on this one. The aim was to bring in novelty, as said in the Judo Talks video, and that's most certainly what has been achieved in the past month's celebration. Let's hope this is just the beginning, with Town Hall 19 just about peeking over the horizon in only a few months' time. Right then, let's move on to something a little bit different. We've got ourselves a proper one-on-one rivalry challenge between the prolific attack strategy YouTuber and caster Shock and the former World Championship winner Einstonius. And this wasn't your regular Clash of Clans war. It all started when Shock was casting his first esport matchup between Zeus Esports and Team Winter around 5 months ago. A confused and torn Clash fan was faced with having to choose between watching on Shock's channel or on Einstein's, as he was still known as at that time, who was also streaming at that point. The poor soul voiced that opinion in the live chat by saying that he was in that dilemma of not knowing whether to watch on the one or the other. So, Shock responded with a solution, that he would make it easy for him by asking who the better player was, and then proclaiming it was himself, so he should watch him. And if Einstein wanted to 1v1 him to prove it, he could bring it on. He wasn't scared. Little did he know, Einstonius was actually listening to the casting and accepted the challenge, but on condition it was after he qualified for Worlds, as then he'd be in his prime and won't care what he shows then afterwards. Leading us to this epic encounter, that was hosted by the king of Clash Streams, the World Championship caster and all-round great guy, Carbon Finn, who set up these amazing challenges for the rivals of the night. This one was split into 3 completely different challenges, with each round introducing another twist to the way these two had to attack. So, let's have a look at how it actually played out. For the first challenge, neither player had complete control over the hero equipment they were taking into battle. Everything was randomly assigned by Carbon Finn. So, the Royal Champion had the Hog Puppet and the Rocket Spear, while the Archer Queen had the Monolith Arrow and Frozen Arrow. The Duke had the E-Fangs and the Flame Blower, while the Minion Prince had the Noble Iron and the Henchman Puppet. Shock went up first, and he put together an 83% 2-star attack. Not bad at all. But then Einstonius stepped up, and, well, when Einstein gets into an attack without using a Grand Warden, we all know what happens. Yep, he tripled it. 100% 3 stars. That's quite a way to answer your opponent. So, after the first challenge, Einstonius had the early advantage. For the second challenge, the players weren't simply handed their equipment. They got to decide what their opponent had to use. Shock selections for Einstonius gave him the Barbarian King with a Vamstash and a Barbarian Puppet, accompanied by the Electro Owl. The Archer Queen got the Archer Puppet and the Giant Arrow with the Greedy Raven as her pet. The Minion Prince had the Henchman Puppet and Dark Crown with the Mighty Yak. And finally, the Royal Champion had the Royal Gem and Hog Puppet with the Angry Jelly as the pet. Einstonius then returned the favor. For Shock's Barbarian King, he kept the Vamstash and Barbarian Puppet, but changed the pet to the Angry Jelly. The Archer Queen received the Archer Puppet and Invisibility Vial, with Lassie accompanying her. The Minion Prince had the Henchman Puppet and Noble Iron, again with the Mighty Yak. And then Einstonius selected the Grand Warden, equipped with the Lavaloon Puppet and Fireball, while giving him the Poison Lizard to assist the Grand Warden. So, we've gone from here's what you've got to here's what I'm forcing you to use. Einstonius was first to attack, and he managed a 77% 1-star. Things were looking good for Shock. And then he had his opportunity, but he also only got a 1-star, but finished slightly lower at a 73%. So Einstonius took the second challenge as well by 4%. That means he was now 2 challenges up. So then we came to the final challenge. This one was probably the most strategic of the 3. There were bans, which meant that neither player could use certain things, and then there were picks, where the player making the selection could choose those things for themselves, but their opponent wasn't allowed to use them. Einstonius banned the Clone, Totem, and Revive spells, while Shock banned the Earthquake and Invisibility spells, along with the Throwers. Then came the picks. So Shock selected the Recall, Rage, and Free spells that he could use, and Einstonius wasn't allowed to use, while Einstonius chose the Overgrowth and Skeleton spells, and then he threw in a bit of a curveball. His final pick was Healers, so Shock couldn't use the Healers. At this point, with Einstonius already ahead after the first 2 challenges, Shock needed something special. Shock attacked first, and he came away with a 72% 2-star. Then Einstonius stepped up, and he produced a 98% 2-star. No triple this time, but 98% is still a rather emphatic result. And there was one more little wrinkle to that scoring, because The stars and destruction percentage from the final challenge were to be doubled. So that 72% for shock became 144%, while Einstonius's 98% became 196. And interestingly, because they both got 2 stars, the doubling meant they both ended up with 4 stars for the final challenge. So, when everything was added together, Einstonius came out on top with 373% and 8 stars, compared with 300% and 7 stars for shock. That is a 73-point difference overall, with Einstonius taking the extra star. And what's particularly interesting is where the difference came from. Shock actually put up some respectable attacks throughout this. The first challenge was the biggest statement, with Einstonius opening that perfect 3-star attack. The second was much tighter, with only 4 percentage points separating them. And the final challenge really opened things up again, with that 98% from Einstonius compared with Shock's 72%. So while Shock certainly put up a fight, Einstonius was simply the more consistent player across all 3 formats. And that's what makes this rivalry really fun to look at, and tells our little lost soul, Rohan Virus, exactly who he needs to be watching. So, after all 3 challenges, Einstonius came out on top, a convincing victory, and certainly one hell of a way to settle a rivalry. I tell you what, I had so much fun going into the Twitch chat and getting involved with being busy with showing support to Shock, and even running into Storm in there while talking to General X. It really was enjoyable. I ended up asking General X who his ideal opponent for a matchup with those types of challenges would be, and his response to that was a tad brief and kind of intimidating for me when he just said, "Anyone I can beat." I really do hope that wasn't a challenge at me, because he'll definitely be able to give me a hiding any day of the week. I'm no Shock when it comes to attacking. But later on, while watching the matchup going on at a really exciting pace, I glanced in the chat and saw General X was still busy answering questions from the audience. But when he was asked something regarding Zeus and RPG, he responded with, and I quote, "If Zeus would be smart about it, they wouldn't have been in our stage 2 bracket." Now, those are some confident words from the reported gaming captain ahead of the August monthly qualifier on the 29th and 30th, despite losing to them twice, and after a bracket reset final on both occasions. But then again, they also did pull off a really great victory by beating Tribe Gaming in the lower bracket of the most recent monthly qualifier, proving they are worthy of their golden ticket they received as runners-up, as Zeus had already qualified by defeating them the month before. I wonder what it'll be like if they meet up in the final. Well, from the way both teams have been performing, and that imperturbable statement from the RPG captain, we can expect every chance of it. Okay, Clash fans, right, let's have a proper look at these hero journey bugs now, because we've spoken about this before, and I've actually gone back through everything we've collected on it, because frankly, there was rather more to the story than just one little bug. And that's the thing with investigating something like this. You start with one problem, and then you find another one, and before long, you're looking at a fairly sizable list of things that weren't behaving quite the way players were expecting them to. So rather than just saying the hero journey was buggy, what I want to do is I want to go through what was actually reported, what Supercell acknowledged, what players were compensated for, and what still needs a question mark beside it, because not everything that appeared on Reddit was necessarily a bug, and that's an important distinction. So, when the hero journey arrived with the June anime Fury update, the basic idea was fairly straightforward. Your cumulative hero levels would move you along a reward track with things like epic equipment, skins, ores, resources, magic items, and quests available along the way. There was a good reason for introducing it. A sizable proportion of players had missed previous equipment releases, particularly if they had taken a break from Clash, and the idea was to give people a clearer way of catching up while also making hero upgrades feel a little more rewarding. That sounds perfectly reasonable and an absolutely fantastic idea. The only problem is the trouble started as soon as people actually started using it. One of the first major problems was the reward track itself. Players were reaching milestones and finding that rewards further along the track were showing as already claimed. The only problem was they hadn't claimed them, and obviously that raises a rather unpleasant question. Have I actually received this reward, or has the game simply decided that I have? That wasn't just somebody misunderstanding a menu. This became one of the major confirmed launch problems. Supercell acknowledged it and a fix was put into play, with affected players subsequently compensated for missed rewards. But even after that initial fix, reports continued from players who believed that rewards were still missing, and that's where the investigation gets just a little bit more complicated, because now we're not just asking whether there was a bug, because we know there was. What we're asking is how extensive it was, what exactly happened to the affected reward data, and whether every version of the problem was actually the same underlying issue. Then there was the epic equipment problem. People reach points in the hero journey where they were expected, they expected to receive equipment and instead got something different, or in some cases, they got absolutely nothing at all. Now, this one does need a little bit of caution because there are at least three possible explanations for some of those reports. One is obviously a genuine reward delivery problem. Another is that the player had already owned the equipment that was going to be received, and the system therefore handled the reward differently. And of course, the third is simply that the player misunderstood how the predetermined reward system actually works. Those are very different situations. If the game fails to deliver an equipment reward that you're genuinely entitled to, that's a bug. If you've already got the equipment and the system converts the reward into a different reward, that's functioning as designed. And if you misunderstood what you were supposed to receive in the first place, well, that's not exactly Supercell's fault. So I don't want to lump every equipment complaint together and call it a confirmed bug. What we can say is that missing equipment was significant enough to be acknowledged and included in the compensation process. Then we had the ore chests. Well, players were reporting reaching milestones or completing hero journey quests and not receiving the ore chests that they were supposed to get. And this one is particularly useful because we have something concrete to work with. Because Supercell on June 24th, they gave a compensation announcement specifically addressing the missed ore chests with affected players receiving the missing ores that they didn't get. So again, This wasn't simply Reddit getting itself worked up into a little hissy fit. This was a genuine reward issue here, and compensation followed. The wider question is how consistently that compensation was applied and exactly how Supercell reconstructed what individual players had missed. That's important because this wasn't necessarily a simple case of pressing a button that marked give everyone their stuff that they should have gotten. The system had to work out what each account should have received. And when you're dealing with equipment, ores, upgrades, and different hero levels, that gets rather more complicated than normal. And then we come to one of the stranger problems, the hero quests. Players began reporting quests that required equipment that they didn't own, and in some cases, they couldn't even possess that equipment at their current Town Hall level. I mean, there was a June report, for example, of a Town Hall 12 player receiving a quest requiring the Rage Vial, which is definitely associated with a much higher Town Hall level. Now, that is a much more difficult problem to explain away. If the journey generates a quest asking you to use something your account cannot actually have, you've got yourself an impossible quest that's never going to be achieved. And the reports of this were still appearing all the way throughout June and even still into July. So the research we've got marks this as something that needed further investigation rather than something we should automatically declare officially confirmed. And that is an important distinction. It was certainly reported, and it was definitely discussed, but the evidence we have doesn't allow me to stand here and say, yes, Supercell officially confirmed every one of these impossible quests as a bug. So I can't do that. And that one's going to stay in the investigation rather than being placed in the confirmed column. There were also reports of equipment not being upgraded correctly. Players described equipment remaining at an incorrect level or receiving progression outcome that they didn't expect. Again, some of these cases received compensation, but the exact nature of the underlying problem wasn't completely clear. And this is where I think we need to resist the temptation to make everything sound like a separate catastrophic failure. Some of these reports may have been manifestations of the same reward state problem that there was, and others may have been genuine separate issues. But without confirmation for every individual case, I cannot honestly pretend I know which is which. There were also reports of the hero journey itself appearing to be ahead of where the player's actual progress should have been. In other words, the track could display rewards as claimed considerably further along the player's hero level, which suggests that fits rather neatly with the original reward state problem. But again, the exact timeline matters. Was the reward actually lost? Was it merely displayed incorrectly? Was it underlying account data correct while the interface was actually wrong? Or did the player genuinely lose access to something that they should have received? Those are the questions that matter, because the answer determines whether we're looking at a visual problem, a database problem, or a reward delivery problem. And we shouldn't pretend they're all interchangeable. There was another issue that was rather less subtle, where the hero hall itself reportedly was crashing for some players when they opened it after the update, where they would go into their hero hall, click to open it, and the game would kick them right out, and they'd have to restart the game again. Well, that seems to have been temporary, with some players reporting that the problem disappeared after waiting or allowing the game to load properly. So that belongs in the category of sorted problems. But it's a rather different beast from someone losing an equipment reward. And that's precisely why we've got to separate things. Others where there were also reports of rewards disappearing after players had upgraded their heroes, equipment or ores that had appeared, well, to be available were subsequently reported as missing as soon as the hero upgrade completed. Then there were reports of hero skins showing up as claimed but not actually being available, and equipment chests were reported as being unavailable despite players apparently having reached the required milestone. Now, at first glance, you could look at all of these and say to yourself, well, there we go, another three bugs. But I'm not convinced that's the right way to look at it. Several of those reports are closely related to the original reward state problem. There may have been different manifestations of the same underlying issue rather than entirely separate bugs. That's why the research document deliberately treats them as things requiring investigation rather than automatically labeling each one as a confirmed independent fault. And this is where Reddit becomes both incredibly useful and incredibly dangerous, because the Clash community is very good at finding things. If something goes wrong, somebody's going to notice it, and then somebody else will notice it too. And then somebody starts comparing screenshots, and before long, you've got a fairly comprehensive catalogue of everything that might possibly be broken. Now, that's valuable. It's how genuine bugs get found, but it can also create a bit of an echo chamber when one person proposes an explanation, a reason for it happening. 10 people repeat it, 100 people read that same explanation, and then suddenly the explanation has become accepted as genuine fact without anybody actually proving it or Supercell acknowledging and explaining it. So you've got the problems that we have solid evidence for. You've got the problems that were repeatedly reported but don't have the same level of official confirmation. And then you've got things that may simply have been, people misunderstanding how the journey was designed to work. That's a much more useful way of looking at it than declaring Reddit the supreme court of Clash of Clans. Although I'm sure Reddit would happily accept the appointment, unfortunately, another Clash of Clans podcast does have the rights to Clash Court. And then there is one particularly important source of information here, because Judo Sploth actually spoke directly with Supercell about the hero journey and the problems surrounding it. And when he asked about the bugs, Supercell did acknowledge them and say that the situation wasn't ideal. They specifically identified the problem where players had upcoming nodes that they hadn't reached yet, showing that they were claimed. They said a fix had been implemented and that players should have been compensated, while anyone still experiencing that particular problem was advised to contact support. They also acknowledged that there had been other smaller issues, so that gives us an official confirmation of the biggest problem, and it also gives us something else that's useful. Supercell itself wasn't pretending that everything had been flawless. They knew that there had been problems. And then came the compensation. Affected players receive compensation for missing hero rewards. I mean, depending on what was actually missing, that could include anything from ores, skins, epic equipment, or chest. So it depended on what it was. For missing equipment, the compensation could also include ores required to bring that equipment to an appropriate level. So at that point, we can draw a fairly firm line underneath something. People genuinely lost access to rewards they were supposed to receive. Supercell acknowledged that, and compensation was provided. That's not speculation, that's part of the documented story. But here's where things get rather more interesting. The initial fix didn't immediately make the entire conversation disappear. Reports continued. Players were still questioning missing rewards. The equipment complaints carried on. The impossible quest issues were still being discussed all the way through July. And there were still questions about exactly what had happened to particular accounts. So the sequence becomes: the hero journey launches, players find problems, a significant fix is released, players continue reporting issues, Supercell investigates and compensates affected players, and then further fixes are discussed, and that's the story. It's not just one bug, not an entire game falling apart. It's a new system that had a fairly rough introduction and required more work after the launch. And that brings us to where we are right now, because Supercell indicated that further hero journey fixes were expected in the August update. And this is important because we're nearing the end of August. Okay, we're well into the month and we're still waiting for that update. So the investigation is obviously still not finished. I can't tell you that the remaining problems have been fixed because we haven't reached that point yet. What we can say is that Supercell has indicated that further fixes are coming in the August update, but there's a very important difference between saying there's a fix coming and saying the problem has been fixed. We're still in the first category. Until that update actually happens and it arrives, and until we can see that changes have been made, and until players can test those changes, this remains an open investigation, and frankly, that's probably the most honest place to leave it. So, was the hero journey released before it was ready? Well, I'm not going to answer that for you. I don't know myself. But I think we've got enough evidence to make the question perfectly reasonable. On one side, you've got multiple problems appearing almost immediately after the launch. Rewards being showed as claimed when they weren't, missing equipment, missing ores, equipment and progression problems, impossible quests, crashes and continued complaints, and more, and more, and more. But then on the other hand, Supercell did acknowledge the major problems. They provided compensation, they implemented fixes, and some of the things being described by players may well have been just misunderstandings rather than actual bugs. So I think the fairest conclusion is somewhere in the middle. The hero journey had a troubled launch, that's difficult to dispute, but whether that amounts to the entire feature being fundamentally broken is a completely different question. And as of this point, we don't have the final piece to that puzzle yet. We're still waiting for the August update. Once that arrives, we'll have another opportunity to look at this and ask a much simpler question. Did they actually fix it? And if they did, brilliant. And if they didn't, well, I suppose we have another episode's worth of material. And that, Clash fans, is where we currently stand. So finally, after trying and trying and trying to get him back on, we finally got Mr. Ghosty. How you doing, Ghosty?
I'm great, dude. Good to be here. Good to be back in the hot seat. You know, I've missed our chats, and I know the world has too.
Oh, that is definitely for sure. I really missed hearing that voice, man.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
In fact,
oh,
just gotta
that
warm
last,
up my voice.
yeah, you got to warm up with that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There
Get it
we
nice and
go.
velvety smooth.
Now, we've got you back on because we've missed you so much, man. And how are things going on your side?
Bro, life has been real good this side. Winter has not been as rough as it was the past few years I've been here. Um, I have filled my time that was Clash with Pokemon Go, and
Oh,
honestly, it's been treating me way better.
okay.
Maybe in a bad way because I'm more addicted to this than I ever was to Clash. It just feels like there's way more to do, right? There's like a whole bunch of facets to the game that you can choose to dive into or ignore. And I mean, most people ignore most facets. I'm kind of doing all of them, which is maybe not great. But
Well,
it is great if you want a game to, have more things to do. Because that was kind of my problem with Clash. It's an amazing game, don't get me wrong. But like once you've done your whatever 8 legend attacks, there's nothing to do, right? Like I mean
mm,
clan games, but even that's not really something to do, right? It's more of the same. Or you can grind loot for walls, which honestly is like not fun in any way for me. It's like mindless. You're not trying. Like at least in Legends attacks, you're like trying. You know what I mean? It's like the
yeah.
game, the plan of you need to achieve something and the goal, and like you can fail or you can do well. That is kind of rewarding. And so that
Uh,
actually brings me on to why I came on today with what do you call it? The order in the
Clash.
court?
Oh, Clash Court. I
Yes,
tell
because
you
I feel
what,
like that
in
is a big area that they could improve that would have made me really happy when I was playing Clash. I feel like there's huge room to improve there. But yeah, sorry, I was
oh,
interrupting you.
no, no. I tell you what. In order to, I get what you're saying. You'd like to have your shot at Clash Court that you didn't get to have because I only started Clash Court after you left.
That's it. You waited for me to leave before you started the fun stuff.
My bad, my bad. I'll tell you what, we'll let you have your chance, okay? And yeah, but in order to do that, I've asked you to, I've asked you on to join us to be a part of that. But I've also brought along a quiz for you.
Oh, yeah, you stolen my thunder.
Oh,
No,
no,
I
no, not
like
at
you.
all, not at all.
I'm happy. I love that. Quizzing is my thing, right? So,
Okay, but the way I've done it is that I've gotten a few questions just to warm you up. Then for round two, we're going to have five questions that you asked me before at some during the point of our
testing my
yeah
memory now.
yeah seeing if you remember the stuff that was said before, and then after that we're going to go a little bit into the other stuff with stuff that you should have still remembered when you were still playing the game. See if you've still retained any of that information that you already had in there. How does that sound?
Look, I put it all in the recycle bin to make space for new info. I don't even remember your name, bro. Where am I?
It doesn't take much to remember to run around and catch Pokemon.
Uh, Look, there's like 900 of these things. You need to know their names, their types, their resistances. There's a lot more than you'd think. Just learning the
Yeah.
type effectiveness took me like months.
Look, the last time I had Pokemon or anything, I think was when I was still watching the actual program with my
Yes.
one of my cousins and he was still quite young and it was still coming on with little Ash Ketchum and Pikachu running around like that. That was the
Good
last time I
times.
had. I've honestly never ever tried Pokemon Go, not once. I've
Look,
never
it is
tried.
different to the Game Boy
Because no, because
versions you play.
I've heard that it is addictive. Like you've just told me, yeah, I've heard it is a very addictive game, and I'm the kind of person who probably will get addicted to it. That's why I've decided to avoid it.
Yeah, look, maybe that's for the best. Keep your life sane. You don't need to learn 800 Pokemon names.
No, but I mean, I probably would remember them because I did really get very invested in watching those Pokemon episodes with my cousin. It was actually really cool.
Yes.
I think I looked forward to it more than he did in the end.
Oh, yeah, dude. I have very fond memories of that. I've actually tried to rewatch
Yeah,
some of it, and it doesn't hit the same nowadays. But yeah, I have very fond memories. That and Dragon Ball Z
yeah.
was like my childhood.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z was awesome. So should we get into this quiz?
Yeah, bring it, bang it. I'm ready.
All right, I'll give you this. I'll give you the first warm-up question just to start off and see how you do. Okay. Okay. First question. In the old Clash of Clans, how long did it take to train a golem?
Cool. Okay, I need to think. It must have been like a while. Training a whole army took like 30 minutes. A golem is like,
I'm
sure, I
talking
want to
about
say
before. I'm talking about before the update.
that made it
When
instant.
No, yeah, before the Clash Anytime update, but I mean they updated it before that as well to make it around 15 minutes to wait for the golem. I'm talking about when it was initially brought out. How long did you have to wait
No.
for a golem?
Sure, I was
And
going to
you
say
should
two
know this.
minutes, but is it 30? 20? I'm just guessing
Uh,
now. I mean, they
mm,
30
All
space,
right, let me
housing
take you out of your
space.
misery. Let me take you out of your misery. It's 45 minutes.
For one.
Yeah,
That's disgusting, bro.
yeah, that's how
I,
long we used to have to wait, and that's what everyone would request in the CC.
I actually remember those. I actually remember you basically needed to get the 1 gem donation just so you didn't have
Yeah.
to empty your army bank to fill the war CCs. Oh, goodness.
All right. Question two. When the Archer Queen was originally introduced, what town hall level did you need to reach to unlock her?
Sure, I didn't even play back then, but I want to say it's Tunnel 8 now. I'm just going to go with that. Was it lower? No, it couldn't
No,
have
it
been.
was
I'm going to go with 8.
higher.
10.
No. Oh, one lower.
In between. Okay, 9.
No.
What is it
There we
now?
go. Well, it is. It's eight now, but it was
Okay.
nine.
You
Okay.
see, you saying the original game. I actually didn't even really play back then, so hard. I'm
Okay.
guessing
Well. These are pretty much ones that you should know because we,
you
we we
should.
did speak about them. Yeah, we did speak
You
about
know,
it. Okay, when the Dark Elixir troops and the Dark Barracks were introduced, which two troops came along with the minion?
Hog Rider.
Oh yeah,
Was it
and
Valkyrie?
there we go. Well done.
Nice, nice. Okay. Whew. Whew.
All right.
Getting
Now
my
those were
thunder
the
back.
warm-ups. Those were the warm-ups. Now we're going to go to questions that you asked me, and now let's see
Yes.
if you can remember them. All
Let's see if
right.
chat remembers them as well.
Which three defenses have the highest DPS?
Okay, when I asked this, was the Revenge Tower out?
Yes. When
Yeah,
you
so
asked this, you were basically, we were busy talking about the
oh yeah,
Zap
yeah,
Quake
yeah.
spells.
I wish I still
How
had all my
many?
quiz texts. It must be. Let's think about this. I can't even remember the defenses that exist. Oh, it's the ricochet cannon, and is it? It
No,
can't be single inferno.
no.
Just name some defenses for me. Expos,
But no,
ricochet cannon, the multi-launcher
no,
towers,
no.
uh, expos. Cannons.
No,
Inferno towers.
no. Can I give you the answer?
You're gonna have to, bro. There's nothing left in my mind.
Multi-gear tower, the spitter, and the scatter shot.
Bro, I don't even remember those things exist.
Okay, here we go.
Spitters. Oh
Here's one.
yeah.
Come on, this one you have to remember, okay? This one, I mean, you and C Note had a rivalry over this, okay? An
Okay.
electro dragon can hit how many targets with one attack with its chain?
Okay. So it starts and then it bounces 4 times, so it's 5 in total.
There we go. Well done.
Sure.
Okay, at max level, if you use one earthquake spell against a max level scatter shot with the zapquake attack strategy, how many lightning spells does it take to destroy it?
7. With one quake, it's 7. It might be 6, but I think it's 7.
Ooh, it sure might be.
Uh,
It's 6. Yeah.
6. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to question 7. What is
Okay,
the
bring it.
fastest pet in Clash of Clans?
Oh, I think it's the lizard, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well
Oh,
done.
I need to get some points back here.
I think you're going to be getting a couple of points back here. And now for remember you gave me that little hint of extra, try to give me an extra point, and I got it right with the bat spell, with the bats being the fastest troop.
Oh, I do remember
Remember
that.
that. And remember
Yes,
that you told me at how many tiles per second they move at. So at what
sure,
speed does the bat move in tiles per second?
sure. I want to say 3.5, but I have no idea.
Double that.
Oh, 7.
That's it.
Damn.
You're fast,
Dude,
man.
yeah, I guess if I think about it now, they are very fast, so it would be like way more tiles per second.
Oh yeah. Okay, and now let's get into the last 5. These are the deep knowledge ones. When the Inferno Tower was introduced, how many troops could the multi-target version of it attack at the same time?
Jeez, did I ask this? I don't remember.
No, we've gone past your questions that you asked. Now we're going into the normal ones.
My memory's bad,
Th-
but not normally this bad. Okay.
No, this you didn't
I
ask.
know you can upgrade to 6, but perhaps you can upgrade to 5 and it's lower, but I'm going to just say 5.
No, that is the correct answer. But you must remember, I
Uh,
said to you, when the Inferno Tower was first introduced, how many could the
yeah.
multi-target attack at the same time? And that
Yeah,
is
no,
5.
okay, yeah. Because I know now you
Yeah.
can upgrade it to 6.
Hmm. When the Spell Factory was first introduced, which
Yes.
3 spells did they let you get?
Yo, easy. Zap,
Extra
heal.
points? Yeah, it's extra points if you get them in order. And so far, you've got
Okay.
the first 2 right. So
Zap,
you've.
heal. And then, okay, Quake is a dark spell, so is it jump? I think it's jump.
Oh no, it's the rage.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then,
Sorry, man. Okay, and here we go. We go. In which year were siege machines introduced into Clash of Clans?
lol, a year that I wasn't playing, so
Yes, that's
I'm gonna
exactly
go
why I asked, because I know you weren't playing.
20. Oh, I feel like it's earlier than 2020. I want to say 2018, but that feels too long ago.
Oh, you got it.
29. Is it 2018?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I was gonna guess 2019, but let's just go with that. I mean, yeah, 2018, final answer.
Well done. You got it.
Oh, I'm feeling clever.
Okay, and what major defense structure was introduced in the 2013 update? Was it the first, the
It's the
second, or the
eagle. It's the
third?
eagle.
No, 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 no. Listen, let me finish the question.
Damn
What
it.
major defense structure was introduced in the June 2013 update? Was it the first, the second, or the third Inferno Tower?
Okay, let's think about this. 2013. What even town hall is that? It must have been
Oh, I think it was Town Hall 11. If no, yeah, no.
second. I'm gonna go with
But
second.
the second,
Yeah.
and you would be correct.
Nice. Because you only get the third one at what, 14?
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
now you get the second one at 11. I'm not sure. I must check up on that one. But there we go. How was that, my friend? You did very well there.
Yes, bro. I haven't heard that Supercell opening sound in a long time, so you must know. This was digging in the dusty crevices of my brain.
Yeah, I can honestly understand. But I mean, I used to enjoy your quizzes that you gave me. They were really cool.
Yes, I feel like it's a fun way to disseminate information, right? Like you make it fun, get people thinking. I mean, I
Yeah,
find it fun
it is.
because I feel like I retain information better if you try and think about the answer yourself first, and then when you get it right or wrong, you get correct, and it's like, oh, that makes sense, or oh,
Yeah.
yes, exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, the dopamine boost makes you retain information.
Well, look, I retained something. I've got a little quiz for you as
Oh,
well,
you do?
because
Awesome.
I couldn't come on the show and not have a quiz. And also, I couldn't let you be the only one quizzing. But mine's much shorter.
Oh,
It is a very short little quiz. But now,
okay.
I guess I'll preempt this with a little discussion with, the Clash World Championship 2026 is happening, right?
Yeah,
At some point in the near future. There's two teams that have qualified already, and then there's like last
yeah.
chance qualifier and another monthly cup. Where are we now? What month is this? August. I think this month it's happening. This weekend is probably one.
Yeah, it's this weekend as far as I remember. We just had the tunnel cups that had just finished. So this weekend it's upcoming. Yeah, it'll be Zeus and Rapatada in the same bracket. So, well, let's see how they go.
So, okay. The first question is, when is the Clash of Clans 26 World Championships?
Well, they
Let me say
have.
that better. The World Championship, the Clash World Championship 2026. When is it happening?
That is, you're asking me a very difficult question here.
I
But
know
as
you're
far
heavy
as
into this. You love spectating.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. That's why I don't want to embarrass myself now. But I know that it's been moved because it's not going to be when it normally is because they're now busy doing it as in broadcast.
Yes, I
It's
saw
not
that.
going to
But
be, yeah,
when was
it's
it
not going to be in
normally?
front of the audience. It normally was in November.
Okay, it is in November.
Is it still in November?
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, in
Which
November.
weekend? Okay,
Oh,
it's the 14th and 15th of November.
okay.
That
Okay.
weekend, so second weekend.
All right.
Now, there is a rather hefty prize pool. And it's
Yeah.
a bit confusing and convoluted, but I'll accept multiple answers here and I'll explain afterwards. But what is the total prize pool in dollars for the World Championship?
Well, I know in the past it's been $1 million. But I think it's gone
Okay.
down to 700,000 now, isn't it?
Spot on. Look at this. Okay. Paying attention to the finer details. So it's $1 million for the whole year, right? So it's
Yeah.
300,000 for all of the pre-qualifier cups and $700,000 for the finals. Well, for
Ah,
the
okay, there
World
we go.
Championships in its entirety for that weekend.
All right.
Okay. So I guess there's two ways to ask the final question, but there's currently 2 teams qualified, and then there's other teams have like there's still leaderboard standings, right? So let's see how many of the top 5 teams you can name according to the leaderboard.
Okay, well, number 1 is Zeus Esports. Number 2 is Reported Gaming.
Yeah,
Number 4 is Vatic, as far as I can remember.
you
And
skipped number 3.
number 5 is Eonosis.
They're number 6, I think.
Just oh, so
But
I'm
it
busy
doesn't have to be in
thinking. Who
order.
was it? Vatic, Eonosis, and because I know Mr. C's playing for Eonosis now, and Smitty's going with Vatic. I can't remember who the third one is. I think I've missed that. Help me out here, please, Ghosty.
So third is MG Esports.
Oh, okay.
I forget what they're. I'm not going to sound stupid and try and say something. And then fifth is Tribe.
Yeah, I didn't really embarrass myself, at least.
You did amazing, dude. I didn't want it to be too hard. So I had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I removed it, but maybe I'll just ask it anyways, and then you can choose if you want to edit it out or not. But it was, there's been some changes to the meta because it seems like it was getting really stale. Can you tell me what the meta shifted to in this previous qualifying, whatever you call it? What would you call it? Qualifier.
Well, what a troop meta? What they're playing with now? Is
Yeah,
that
so
the
there's
meta
like
you're referring
a
to?
new air attack. I wouldn't
Well,
say
there was
new, but it's a different one.
the Hydra.
Yeah, so it looks like it was Hydra because what did they nerf? Dragon Rider.
Yeah,
Apparently that was like completely broken. So they nerfed Dragon Rider and then they nerfed is it throwers?
yeah, but the Dragon Duke throwers are pretty good now. Smitty's doing quite a show, busy putting out awesome videos on the throwers. I must admit, being a thrower fan myself, and keeping them out of Clash Court.
Yes, I've heard. But they aren't meta in the esports scene, right?
No, it's been Hydra in the past, but then there was a lot. I saw a bit of Yetis, and I also saw there was some what do you call them, with the Dragon Duke. Um, just
The Root Rider Yetis.
no, I haven't seen that. I haven't watched. I didn't watch the past. What's it, monthly finals? Well, I
Ooh.
mean the town hall cups. I normally only watch the weekend of the qualifiers, not the lead ups to the qualifiers.
Yeah, no, I mean last month qualifiers.
No, I watched August. Oh no, I definitely watched the August qualifiers.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, the meta for that.
I
That
mean,
was
not the
what I did my
August.
research
Sorry,
on.
the July
July.
qualifiers. We having the August ones this weekend. No, yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well, it was there was what's it, throwers is
was
what
it?
was the other one that was being used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I had quite a bit of fun with the Shock versus Einstonius match that took place, that rivalry. I gave a little bit of a rundown of that early on in the episode before you
Why
jumped
did
on.
he change his name? Because he was Einstein before, right?
Just to be funny, apparently he's going to change it before what's it, Worlds again. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen this time.
I was
They
looking
just
today
changed
and I
their
was like,
names because they can.
Yeah,
It costs
okay,
gems.
fair enough.
I suppose when you're playing as a pro, gems don't cost much.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. Once you've leveled up all
We'll
your
talk.
heroes, your gems are kind of useless.
Well, I was talking about Clash Court earlier on. You said that
Mm-hmm.
you had your own little personal case to bring forward. So, well, I've told you how we run Clash Courts. It's basically you give me your charges and then your argument for the charges, and then I decide whether or not the accused is
Yes.
worth going. But now you've thrown as we in South Africa call you've thrown a spanner in the works, not a wrench in the works.
Yes, yes. A spanner.
Yeah.
I am throwing a spanner.
Yeah, you're not throwing a troop or equipment or a defense. You're going big guns. I'll, you know, you've got the floor. Please go right ahead.
Order in the court.
So, yes, look, you did invite me to come and do the court charges, and I thought long and hard about what I would want to arrest. And honestly, like, I'd listened to a few of them, and I mean, there's troops I hate, right? And there's troops that feel unfun and boring or difficult to use, but I don't think that's a reason to jail them, right? I feel like that's a reason to get good and learn how to play them, or it's just not everything is made for everyone. And so I
Okay.
thought about what feature exists in the game that, I would say is criminal. And so the first charge I've got is criminal neglect of the in-game achievement system. And essentially, this is it's going to be a few charges, but they all fall in line with the achievement system. And now,
Okay.
you've probably never played World of Warcraft, but I'm going to go to that as my starting because I feel like most of the listeners, gamers, that's like a game almost everyone's played. And if you've played WoW, you realize we call it like a crack because it is the most addictive game. And it's just because they've kind of managed to really fill this niche of getting you to like these gameplay loops that feel fulfilling and it's just fun, right? Like there's always something to do. And when you finish that, there's a different thing waiting for you. And you can choose to go for it or not. There's no like
Okay.
need to, but there's incentive in fun rewards, normally cosmetic rewards, right? So,
Okay.
anyways, I'm just going to read a little bit of what I wrote before I go on too much of a tangent, and then we can kind of dive deeper. I'm going to charge Supercell with failure to provide sufficient rewards for long-term dedication and create a fun reason to repeat gameplay loops. Since release, there's been no thought put into what I feel is one of the most incentivizing points of gameplay, right? Because if you think about like when you start a new account, one of the things that makes it, or I enjoy it the most, is pushing as fast as you can to get to those, whatever they're called, like the arenas or the tiers to unlock those 2,000 gems, right? Those kind of achievements exist, but there's, most of them is 500 stars in the Goblin map, or complete 2,000 attacks or 2,000 defenses, or it's just stuff that happens thoughtlessly. You can't really play into it.
Okay.
So, if everyone would now please refer to Evidence Article 1. Many gamers might be familiar with the game WoW. This, I believe, is the perfect example of a well-made achievement system where there's very intricate and structured ways to kind of reward people in every aspect of the game, right? So you can choose to go into, let's say, build a base, and there's a thing,
Okay.
let's say, for example, do 50 attacks with the chopper and only night witches where you say you get 3 stars. or things like that, right? Or fill up the whole map with grass and you get like a
Okay.
6 skin for the chopper. And it's like kind of
Oh,
weird things to do that make you kind of play the game in a different way and reward you for it. So it kind of makes the game a whole new game in itself. You're not just grinding loot now, you're trying to grow grass, or you're trying to, another example I thought of was fill every square on the home village with decos, and they all have to be unique decos, and then you get like
yeah.
a super sick big deco unlocked.
Okay.
And so all these things that kind of push players to do things that you'd never do otherwise, but it makes the
All right.
game, like, changes the gameplay loops and not forces, but gives you reason to do things you wouldn't do otherwise. And for me, that's what makes a game fun, right? Because you can finish WoW, but then you can go and, kill 5,000 of these with a special thing while your character's naked, and then you unlock like a super cool hat that you can run around with, and everyone's like, damn, that's a sick hat. How did you get it? And you like share the
Oh,
achievements and like, I did this. And so you kind of, it's not like a pay to win thing where you need to grind these things. You just get incentivized to do weird, silly, fun gameplay loops that give you sick rewards. And for me, I feel like
all
that
right.
makes the game fun. And I feel like they've criminally underthought of that entirely.
All right, very well. That statement has been entered into evidence, counsel, but I suspect it may come back to haunt you.
They
But
already
yeah,
updated it.
now, the court's heard enough to be intrigued, but not yet enough to be persuaded. So, what was your other
Okay.
charge?
My next point, charge 2, I find that I charge Supercell and the system with passive completion fraud. Every element in the achievement tier list as it stands, you can do either by mistake, without thinking, or without trying. There's nothing that you wouldn't be able to achieve without, how would I say this? There's nothing on that list that if you just played for 20 years would not be completed. There's nothing you have to
Yes,
do
I understand.
different or think
Yeah.
about to achieve outside of a normal gameplay loop. And I feel like that in itself is just, I don't want to say boring. I mean, I guess I do want to say boring because it is boring, right? They're not actually achievements. They just play the game and,
Okay, hold on.
get reward.
Hold on. Let me see. What you're basically saying is that there's what we've got, the current system we've got is too boring. It's what you can, it can be done by anyone at any time. It can happen. Sometimes just you're busy doing attack, and then the next thing you know, there's a little one on the top of the corner, and you click on it and you've got yourself some gems from completing an event. What you're saying is that there needs to be something that's that hard, like a difficult, that you actually have to put in effort and try to do and make that reward for completing that. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, so, but not by removing the current system, right? There's nothing wrong with the current system. I just think that it needs to be on top of it. And even like way more layers, right? Like we can have everything that exists now, say even double it because it's all old and everyone's completed everything. And then add a whole bunch of new ones, 5 cool deco things. Um,
Yeah.
some fun attacks where you do, complete 100 3-star attacks with no heroes at Town Hall 18.
Okay.
Like stuff that kind of forces you to do different things and
Hmm.
rewards you handsomely for doing it, right? And so it will give the streamers content because not everyone could even do that. And again, you're not going to
Yeah.
like unlock a sick troop that no one else gets access to. You're just going to get like the sickest barbarian king skin or something that like it's just super flashy that you can like flex on people by saying, I did this next to impossible task, and I can show it off here.
Well, I tell you what, you have made a compelling argument, and while listening to it, I have thought about it, and it really does make a lot of sense. But uh, it's a remarkably serious accusations against the development team. For the record, Ghosty, are you suggesting that you could have done a better job?
Certainly, these aren't complicated things, right? I mean, I know they have their hands full, but I think this is a simple change that will bring. Look, maybe no, I know I'm not alone because most of the games that I enjoy have a sick achievement system. And I think that is,
Yeah, lacking.
yeah, it's just a really simple way to really incentivize um, different gameplay loops and make a game more fun in different ways.
Well, while you've been gone, and I did discuss it earlier on in the episode, was the hero journey bugs that we are busy waiting for the Supercell team to give us the
What is a
August
hero
update to sort
journey?
out. Oh, yes, you missed out on that. You can thank yourself for missing out on that. The hero journey it's a system that's been put into place, and guess what it is? A reward system
For doing
for
what?
upgrading your heroes. You get epic equipment, you get ores, all three kinds of ores, and lots of them. When it works, you get skins, you get loot, and a whole lot more inside there. Magic
Okay.
snacks. Yes, it's a really cool reward system, but currently it has quite a few bugs for quite a number of people, and we're still busy waiting for it to be sorted out. But Supercell has promised the exterminators are coming in soon, and we are optimistically holding our thumbs, to put
Look,
it nicely.
from what I remember, the team at Supercell, when they say they're going to do something, they do it. So I wouldn't
Yes.
stress that it will happen. Look, there's probably I'm not going to
I'm,
say it'll be
I'm
done
what I'm
tomorrow.
yeah what I'm optimistic about is that it's going to fix all the bugs. That's what I'm optimistic about. Them doing it is
Yeah.
like putting through another update. That's pretty much a guarantee.
Yes. But
Yeah,
will it fix things? You
let's
know what
hold thumbs.
else?
I'm really optimistic about it.
Now that I think about it, the levels, like the
Yeah.
level is meaningless, right? It does nothing in any way,
No,
shape, or
now
form.
it does. Now it does.
Oh,
With the hero journey, with your every hero level that you go up,
no,
you
not
get
hero level. I mean, your account level.
oh, oh no, that's still meaningless. That's just to flex and show that you've been playing the game for a while.
Yes.
And
So in
you've taken out a few too many decorations or things that have been growing in your garden.
yeah, in in Go, they have this thing now where the last 10 levels, you obviously got to get the experience and all of that, but then you have 4 quests essentially. And like they're also, it's basically like the same, just passive completion. You would do it without thinking. But it kind of
Okay.
is still fun. So like the one I'm on now is you got to do 100 max battles, max out 7 Pokemon, um, earn 44 platinum medals, which is basically just like leveling up your achievements by doing repeated things. Um, and so it just kind of changes again, incentivizes gameplay loops that you maybe wouldn't always prioritize yourself because now this
Yeah.
level. requires 100. And so, I mean, whether that takes you 6 months because you just do one a week, or you go out and grind it and you push, which is what I've been doing, and it makes it kind of fun because like you interact with, there's so many, I mean, you haven't played Go, but there's like so many different ways to play, and a person
Oh,
can ignore 9 out of 10 of them, right? Like you don't have to do any of them you don't want to do because they kind of, there's some overlap, but not really. You can ignore some areas and not be punished for it.
yeah.
But
Oh,
now this is kind of making me dabble in all these other areas that I've kind of previously ignored and kind of starting to enjoy, which is really
okay.
cool. Kind of like how clan games makes you interact with Boulder Base.
Yeah.
That's like the only reason to go in there.
All right. Well, this leads me to my deliberation. Should they go in or should they be acquitted?
You know what? I would be happy to say that we could give them a 6-month term to fix themselves before the electric chair's charged, you know?
So then I can have you come back in 6 months' time for
To push
the
the
anniversary.
button. Just to shock, just to push the button and watch it burn. Sure.
I'll tell you what, for the anniversary episode, that's when you can come back on and give us we'll give the actual verdict. We'll put them on probation for the meantime. How's that?
Yeah, yeah. You just pass
Six
this on
months
to the
probation.
team. Tell them, tell them it's a great idea. It'll bring in money.
Well, Ghosty, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been absolutely awesome having me back here. Want to know, do you have any shout outs?
I honestly, I would love to give a shout out to when on my last episode you compiled like a little goodbye message from. Look, I almost am scared to name one because then I have to name them all and I'm gonna
Well,
miss some.
I'll, I'll name them for you. It was Kat, it was a C Note, it was Congressman Coolrick, it was Liam, Smitty, and Jess. Yeah,
Yes,
those were the
I want
six.
to shout out those guys. Honestly, such legends. It made me feel so loved. A lot of them I've never spoken to before or even heard their voice. I know they existed in text form, but that made me feel really special. So a huge shout out to those oaks if they're listening. We appreciate your continued support. And I'm here. I'm here just for you, Oaks.
Well, for my shout outs, I'd like to thank Neon Zombie and Scotty for shouting me out in their previous episode on the Clash of Clans podcast. And I'd also like to thank Rohan Virus. Thank you for giving me the whole backstory to the Einstonius and Shock rivalry. You sent me those links and the timestamps so that I could find out exactly when everything was said. I'd just like to thank you so much. And well, now you know you need to be watching Einstonius' stream from now on, buddy. Oh, it was so fun, dude. I went and watched that matchup and I had so much fun inside the chat, man. I was ran into Storm while I was in there. That was pretty cool. At first, I didn't know who it was. The next day, I was like, I sent her a message saying, "Listen, was that you?" Said hi inside the chat, and she was like, "Yeah, it was." Oh, thank goodness,
Hello.
it wasn't just some random person named Storm I was saying hello to.
It does always feel weird when you find someone in like a remote gathering like that. And you're like, no ways. What are you doing here?
Yeah. Anyway, buddy, but you must stay in contact, and I'm glad to hear that you're at least still listening to the episodes.
100%. Yeah, dude. Look after yourself, and I'll see you in the next one in 6 months
Cool, man.
when we
Yeah.
purge these eggs.
And until next time, guys, keep on clashing.